Hello, I'm going to be talking to you today about an event that I went to in Northern Quarter. Basically, it was about the secrets to startup success. So all three entrepreneurs gave their speeches, had their talks, and from all three of them, even though they're in complete different industries, I could extract three main key points which they all had in similarity. One being identify a gap in the market, two being listen and appreciate your customers' opinions, feedback, whatever. I'll get to the third point later. I happen to know one of the entrepreneurs who were doing a talk there, which was really fun. I got to pick her brain, obviously. But yeah, so the event was really informative, and I want to talk to you guys about my findings from it and what I learned from it. So I feel like I'm talking really fast. I'll take a sip of tea. Basically, there were three different entrepreneurs who were sharing their stories of how they started their business. All three of them have successfully achieved the goals they wanted to achieve by this point. So it started with a girl called Rebecca Goldstone, and this is her story. So basically, she was in uni and studying something, but she kind of wasn't really feeling it anymore. She wasn't excited about it, so she went back to her halls, got a big piece of paper out and started mind mapping what she was thinking. She wasn't even sure what she was going to get out from this mind map, but she started mind mapping, thinking, right, what's going on with me? Why am I not motivated? Why do I not want to be here? And stuff like that. So there she was, writing away. And then she came to the conclusion after, actually, I don't think uni's for me. I don't think this is what I want to do. I think I want to start something myself, be my own boss and manage something myself. So she then scrapped that and got another piece of paper out and started listing what interests her and what industries she could potentially look into. And she came to the conclusion of hairdressing due to the reasons that she realised once she'd researched into it that actually hairdressing's never really changed much. Trends have come and gone, but hairdressing as an industry has stayed quite level. Then she said, so step one of her whole process of becoming an entrepreneur was to find a gap in the market. So she identified the fact that actually most of the successful leaders in the market of hairdressing are male. She's female, so she could offer something different, something new to the industry. So that was her gap in the market. Apparently, this is just part of her personal story of how she got to her idea. But so after she'd mind mapped and all that, Christmas came along and she was getting merry with her family, and her and her brother got a bit competitive and started saying, oh, if I went on The Apprentice I'd do so well, or if I went I'd do even better, and all this. And then basically they both applied for it, and her brother got sent out week one, but she kind of got through interview after interview after interview and did so well. And then she thought, you know what, I'm going to take this idea, I'm going to put this idea into action, that this is something I really feel like could work well, or something I'm passionate about. So she went ahead with it, and she mentioned that she did a training course at Tony and Guy Academy and then went on to work for Trevor Sorby. But yeah, so on that point, so she mentioned that when she was working at Trevor Sorby, she'd always heat a towel up before she'd wrap their hair to dry their hair or whatever. And customers always said, oh, do you know what, it's so nice to have a warm towel wrapped around. Usually it's cold, usually it's just a nice little touch, and it makes such a difference. And she noted it down, anything that she did differently or unique or to make the experience more personal, she noted down their feedback. And of course carried that through to her own business. So identify a gap in the market and appreciate feedback, because feedback is essentially going to make you grow. And who's better giving you feedback than the people who you want part of your custom, part of your business. So important fact number 2. Okay, on to number 3. So all three of these entrepreneurs mentioned location being quite a significant decision in the process of starting up your own business. So for Rebecca, she didn't comment too much on the location, but she did say to think outside the box, which I wasn't expecting, because I would have presumed that you should stick with the trends more, and if an area is popular, you're probably more likely to get business there, so aim to go to more popular places. So I don't know, but that was her advice, so think outside the box. So Lisa to C, which was another, apologies if I haven't said the surname right, is another lady who was an entrepreneur doing a talk at the event. So she has Chinese heritage and she's great at cooking Chinese food. So she decided to bring her Chinese heritage, culture, cooking skills to England, gap in the market. She could bring something that others potentially couldn't. So yeah, she identified gap in the market, and then the point of listening to customers was quite interesting for her entrepreneurship. She basically said that they were doing well, people were liking the food, but they kept commenting saying, could we have a gluten-free, or was it nut-free? Gluten-free or nut-free version of some sauce that people liked. So they got a lot of recommendations to make a nut-free version of this sauce. So in the end, they thought, okay, this is what they want, this is what we'll give them. Made the sauce, it's now their bestseller. So she, like Rebecca, mentioned that if you listen to your customers, you're going to make more customers happy. So yeah. Anyway, onto the location factor. So when they were deciding to move somewhere, they chose Northern Quarter. And back then, Northern Quarter was known as the no-go area. So, I mean, back then that must have been quite a risky decision to choose to open a restaurant somewhere which was unpopular, where people didn't like to go and whatnot. So either you've got to be really good at predicting the future or you got to hope for the best. I think they obviously got really lucky, but I suppose you need some kind of reasoning to back up your idea to move somewhere, because I think you can't just pick somewhere on a whim, which people like. I mean, think of like a place that you don't really like going at the moment. Like, think of that location and imagine renting or investing in a property there to open a restaurant. Do you think other people would really want to go there just because you've opened a restaurant? I don't think that would work. That's not a principle to go by for everyone. But I mean, maybe it is. They got lucky, so you could get lucky. But yeah, so they chose Northern Quarter and they chose a car park, which is a bit weird. I think, it'd be quite hard to kind of change your opinion on an environment if you thought it was a car park, and then you kind of got to think of having your dinner there and having your food cooked there. I don't know. Back home where I live, they actually converted, it was horrible, they converted a Morrison's car park toilet into an Indian restaurant. And I think there's quite a mix of people. There's people who go there and don't really care about the fact that randoms used to piss in their, excuse my language. And then there's the ones who appreciate the fact that the food is actually quite good and the place shouldn't be judged for the fact that the walls are the same walls that was once known as a toilet. So I don't know, I think, I'm not saying car park's the same as a toilet, but I think if you pick somewhere, I mean, food and hygiene go hand in hand strongly, and I think picking a toilet is giving yourself the hardest possible setup to encouraging people to come and try your food. So don't aim to find cheap toilet buildings, but I mean, a car park I suppose isn't too bad. It's just, again, with food, it's such a delicate topic. People like to think that their food's very clean and untouched of bacteria and all that. So I think the cleaner environment you can choose, you're not going to have any prejudice customers when you set up. So another point that Lucid C mentioned was that they act as I have a wound. That they function as opportunists to do well. So when they did first set up, and obviously Northern Quarter wasn't that big and wasn't that popular, they decided to enter a competition. I think it was something to do with the BBC, or if it wasn't, they definitely had an interview with the BBC after to talk about how well they did. I think another point, if you are thinking of starting up your own business, is to try and opportunise on as much relevant, topical, interactive content as possible, whether that be social media or not social media, either like face-to-face or internet, whichever you can afford to get as many people involved with. I actually have an interesting little video of Lisa mentioning something unique that they do in their restaurant to make to make their brand, restaurant, whatever, more interactive to their customers. And it's such a good idea. So I actually videoed that for you guys. Definitely watch that. It's quite interesting. Okay, so last entrepreneur, Martin Cunningham, started up Funky Readers. And basically their idea came from a holiday. So they went abroad to Italy, I believe it was Vienna, and they walked past this glass shop and they thought, why are there not this many variations in England? Why don't we have funky styles in England of glasses? And from there, they just thought, you know what, let's Google it. Started Googling, they realised that supplies could come from Milan. They just decided to go ahead with it and give it a go. A point Martin actually did mention was that it was quite a leap of faith to make such a large investment, because for their particular industry, they needed to buy quite a large variation to be able to do market research, find out what British market would appreciate and where. Quite a risky loss of money. So it depends what industry you're in, but you're taking a leap of faith. And I think if anything, you just need drive, you need to be motivated, and you need to want the results. If you're just going to sit on your ass and hope that it comes to you, you're going to lose money, not earn money. So you need to be passionate about, I hate the word passionate, it's so overused. You need to be knowledgeable of what you're gonna produce or provide, and along with being knowledgeable, I think you need to be able to see the results, because I'm a big believer in the universe, and I think if you can see something, you can be something. So if you can see the results and you can see them every day, and I mean, take for example when something's going wrong, if you can still see the goal, you can still see where you want to end up, then it's likely that you're going to end up there. So, well, that's what I believe anyway. Positive thinking gets you everywhere. So yeah, I really enjoyed that talk. It was so interesting. I would do it all over again, not just for the free wine and the food. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm quite an active person. I get bored so easily. So for me to hear people, and even like Rebecca's not that much older than me, and to hear that, yeah, she was scared, and yeah, she wasn't sure whether it would work, and yeah, she's still scared now, it's kind of reassuring to think that it doesn't matter if you're scared, you just need some kind of plan. You need a plan, and like I say, you need to be able to see the goal, and if you can see the goal, then you're going to shoot perfectly. So I hope this vlog has been informative, and if you're anything like me and you can't sit down longer than 35 minutes, then maybe you should look into either whatever strategy works for you, mind mapping, go on holiday, or just recognise an instant gap in the market of culture. Whatever floats your boat, then yeah, give it a go. I would say, what have you got to lose? But I suppose that's not really the right thing to say. What about if you don't try, you don't get? Thank you for listening. Bye.